trim, winnow, chisel, bonsai, and deposited here today. Ready to be moistened with the watering can of evolutionary dew? This is the Dennis Miller Show.
Come to me, my babies. Let me quell your pain. Hey, folks, welcome to the Dennis Miller Show. I am the aforementioned Mr. Miller. Little crestfallen. Bachelorette this season is the Chilean mistress. And I'm not watching. We'll be taking your calls in our next segment at 866-509-RAND, 866-509-7268. In our next half hour, we'll talk to Jerry Reichert, who has written a book about the Leave It to Beaver show called Gerrymandering. His website is Gerrymandering. Well, I've got this all wrong, don't I? He's the director of a documentary called Gerrymandering, and his website is gerrymandermovie.com. Gerrymandering, as opposed to gerrymandering, which is where they stack entire districts with beavers. And then you were expected to leave it. Joining us now as a contributor to Big Journalism and Liberty.com. And I met this gentleman, I believe. Christian, didn't we meet Ron backstage?
Yeah, while you were at the Orleans.
Did we, were we at the Sharon Engel thing together? Or did I just...
He was there a different... No.
Oh, okay. Ron Futrell. Ron, how are you?
Dennis, I'm doing fine. I think the beeve did gerrymander some of those districts. If you look, if you see what they look like, a blind beeve made some of the districts in this country. I'm thinking.
Well, anybody who throws a reference where they go hard beef like that, I got to respect the guy because he knows his stuff.
Hey, I'll tell you, I got to tell you one quick story though. In watching your show, and I've seen your show years and years.
Well, go slow. You don't have to go quick.
No, but I do want to go. One thing that I enjoyed was you giving the Frank Sinatra story on how he repeated a song once.
Yeah, he did when I went to see him.
Late in his career. Well, anyway, I was doing a roast for Tommy Lasorda at Dolly's once, and we had, I guess the first mistake was trying to get Frank Sinatra to come over and be a comedian. He didn't want to sing because it was between shows for him. Mm-hmm. So we wrote some jokes for him. We put them on 3x5 cards and had Frank go out there and roast Tommy Lasorda because they're good friends, the Italian stuff. So he goes out there, he reads all 7 jokes and puts one card behind the other. So he gets back to joke number 1, and he reads it a second time. And everybody in the crowd obviously knew what had happened here. He goes through joke number 2, joke number 3 again for a second. He goes through the stack of jokes a second time and doesn't realize what he's done. He started a third time, and so then at that point they asked me to go out and stop him. Like, go stop the chairman of the board from making a fool of himself out there late in his career, late in his life.
Well, do you not think, Ronnie, that it might have been was he not putting him on, or was he loaded?
No. He didn't realize. We sent, there was a fight that weekend too, so we sent out Roberto Duran, and something was lost in translation because his English isn't real good. So we sent Roberto Duran out there to try to stop him, and finally we got a couple of showgirls that went out there and sort of took him by the arm. He wasn't laughing during it.
Wow, that's
he hadn't realized, and that was as great as Sinatra was, certainly, and those of us here in Vegas that saw him in his heyday. He was marvelous, obviously, but then late in his career.
Yeah, got a little. Well, listen, he still had moments that were stirring the night that I saw him, but he did repeat a song, and everybody had that wince, and you're reminded you can't go home again, even chronologically, you know. Now, Ronnie, today, I think we have the big debate there, and Harry Reid and Sharon Engel, right? Is it today?
Yes.
I met Sharon when I was in town, and I'm voting for her. I don't know where you stand politically, but tell me, how do you handicap the debate, my friend?
No, I'm absolutely voting for her because, as I told her yesterday, I said, if you're extreme, because that's what Harry Reid's trying to paint her as, extreme, if you're extreme, then I'm extreme, the group that we were in at that time is extreme, and the founders of this country were extreme, because that's what she believes in. I'm voting for her, and I did a commentary on Liberty.com to this end that said, because all you have to know in this election are the 3 votes: how people voted on stimulus, how they voted on health care, how they voted on cap and trade. And Harry Reid voted against 2 of the 3. He didn't vote on cap and trade because the Senate never considered that, but he would have. And Sharon would have voted against him.
Yeah.
And I don't care whether she's got horns coming out of her head or hooks in her feet or whatever they want to say she's got. You know, or
yeah, I met her. She was a sweet enough dame. I liked her.
Yeah,
She seemed sweet, and she had good.
Or Broom is a witch. I don't care. You know, I'm going to vote for somebody who's going to vote like me because that's all senators do. They sit in a bubble and they vote. They call it a chamber, but I think it's more of a bubble.
Well, you've been out there for 30 years, or you've known Harry Reid for 30 years. I find the man repugnant, but then again, I understand there are people like you. You know him and like him, right?
I know him personally. I know his family real well. We share religion together. And that's the LDS vote is something that is an issue here in this town. He's hoping that people will vote for him simply because they're LDS, but that doesn't work politically because the LDS community is as far away from Harry Reid as they can possibly be. I'm voting for a senator, not a preacher or a pastor. I wouldn't mind living next door to him, and I wouldn't mind seeing him at church, but I don't want him to be my senator. It's as simple as that.
Quite frankly, an LDS member would now have to be under the influence of LSD to vote for Harry Reid. Because
I would not disagree with that.
It's up to 14%, the unemployment rate there, isn't it?
Well, and I think you said this one time. I heard it on your show. If Harry Reid says it's his job to create jobs, and it's at 14.7 in Las Vegas unemployment, then
yeah, you can whack him for that. You don't even have to include the fact he said the people stunk till they put the new visitor center in at the Senate, and the war is lost. The war is lost is the one that rankles. When you've got kids on the ground, that is reprehensible to me.
That was a deal breaker.
Anyway, no, you have seen it all, man. In 25 years in Vegas, you've been in TV news and sports. I have to tell you, out of all the things I've seen in Vegas, one of the most stirring is Andre's school. Have you been over to Andre Agassi's school?
No, that is absolutely the opening of the academy. What he has done there, Andre has given back every year. He has a big concert here in town where he raises millions of dollars that goes to this school, and people in the community are chomping at the bit to get into this school. And it's done by a lottery system and by a merit system. And, no, he's doing a great job.
I love that bridge he built, right? The kids graduate, they will get to walk across the bridge. It's
in the middle of, if you will, the west side of town, not the best part of town. It's built right there in that community, and it's certainly upgraded that part of the community.
Yeah, Andre's a mensch with that. Now, tell me what you got coming up here, the Tea Party Express Tour. When's it start? Where are you going? And by the way, folks, if you want more information on this, go to teapartyexpress.org. But when are you kicking it off, Ron?
So we're doing something very unique here, and we're broadcasting webcasting the entire tour live on the Internet. And this is, I don't know how we're going to pull it off. I mean, we're just going to go out and do it because we can. We got the Internet, we have the bandwidth, we have the ability to do it. Technologically, we've got all the right stuff to be able to send this stuff up on the Internet and make it happen. We're going to broadcast every bit of the Tea Party Express from Reno. It starts in Reno on the 18th.
Right.
So it's going to be next Monday.
You got 28 cities in 12 days, right?
Yeah, and we're also going to be, some breaking news with this. Sarah Palin is going to kick off the tour in Reno on Monday, 10 o'clock. So if you go to our website, which is liberty.com, which I'm sort of partial towards that web domain.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of like liberty.com.
All right.
And so we're going to be putting it up there live so people will be able to listen to it on the web, watch it. And I like, too, that we're going to be broadcasting the Tea Party events unfiltered.
Good. So people can see that they're not a coven.
No, we're going to just put it up there. People can see it. I'm going to be reporting from there. I'll be anchoring the coverage. And every stop along the way, I think we're in L.A. on the 20th. And we go all the way back to Connecticut. We end it November 1st. In New Haven, Connecticut.
Beautiful. Well, listen, you heard what Matthews said last night, didn't you? Chris Matthews?
What did he say?
Yeah, listen, you guys stay frosty out there because there's a lot of creeps who think the Tea Party is the end of days. But this is Chris Matthews talking about the miners in Chile and weaving them into the Tea Party. Number 12, please, Saberhagen.
Message coming out of the Tea Party people, and a lot of them are good people, is every man for himself, basically. No more taxes, no more government, no more everything, no more safety net, no more health care for everybody. Everybody just get out there, make your buck, save it, screw the government, move on, right? Yeah. You know, these people, if they were every man for himself down in that mine, they wouldn't have gotten out. They would have been killing each other after about 2 days. Well, this is a story of how people can work together. You know, this is just another...
Jesus. What happened, Chris? That's so insipid.
That's sad.
That's like the dust jacket on Jonathan Livingston's Seagull. This is how the Tea Party people would have been... And that's AFL-CIO boss Richard Trumka playing Senior Wences' left hand there in the background. Yes, see, that was on Hardball last night. Can you believe that they lay this stuff on the Tea Party? They would have been killing each other after 2 days.
Well, and then I guarantee you they ignored the fact that at the One Nation Working Together Democrat event, the rally that they had, where there were actual anti-American groups, communists and socialists, who showed up there at that rally, and we're part of that. We're welcome in that rally, and that I think is something that the media, and I've been critical of that on Big Journalism on Andrew Breitbart's site, of the fact that the media has virtually ignored that part while they were looking with magnifying glasses to find any weapons or Hitler.
Yeah, but I'm just, listen, I got to wrap up, but I just want to say, does it not boggle your mind? Chris Matthews is a smart guy. To get to the point, something's happened to him when he can be on the air saying, because, okay, one, he's touched by this scene in Chile. I think a lot of people would have worked together down there. I quite frankly do. I think it's weird to say that if the Tea Party people had been done, they would have been killing each other after 2 days. That seems like such a silly, like almost sophomoric thing to say. And that's Matthews. Like I said, that's not adult, but God, something has happened over there. He's so poisoned against these people, it doesn't even make sense. All right, Ronnie, good luck to you out there, baby. Stay in touch from the road and say hi to Sarah and tell her Bristol had a nice rumba the other night. Ron Futrell. And we're going to take a break, come back, do some phone calls. Then at the bottom of the hour, the director of a documentary called Gerrymandering. For those of you, I know most people know, I'm not trying to be like, oh, look what I know. It's when they arrange districts so one party wins perpetually. You look at some of these districts and they look like a Rube Goldberg contraption, you know? And that's what gerrymandering is. And his movie, we'll talk about it after this with Jeff Reichert at the bottom of the hour and your phone calls on the Dennis Miller Show.